Okay, I'm so excited to introduce our guest speaker tonight. Thank you for all of you for jumping on the call. So we have Abby with us tonight. She's going to share some awesome tips about the importance of just how and why to be a 500 PV coach. And I know for some of you newer coaches, we're still understanding volume. We're still trying to figure out how to team cycle bonus and why volume is important and why volume becomes the bulk of your income as you build. And so I would have never, Jamie and I would have never met Abby if it weren't for this business. And I just love just introducing fellow coaches who we are in the same downline. So we're all in the same downline. We're all in Christina Solons' downline. But what's fun is that Abby can mentor our team. I did a call for Abby a couple weeks ago. And so it's super fun just that it's not like Abby gets anything from doing this for our team, but that's what you do. And there's so many people willing to reach out to help you guys on other teams. And that's like one of my most favorite things because people want you to succeed in this business. It's not, it blows my mind how many cheerleaders you have amongst you, especially going to live events and meeting people. And that's where I met Abby. I would have never met her if it wasn't for live events. So I want to introduce her now. She's going to share a little bit about her story and then she's going to go right into it. Go ahead, Abby.
All right, thanks for having me, Tabitha. And I loved when you spoke to my team a few weeks ago and just kind of poured into them. So that was awesome. And I love doing this. So I've been coaching it was 8 years last month. So I'm old in this. I'm really old in this. And this is one of my favorite things that I've grown to love is mentoring and sharing and helping coaches like see their full potential and just teaching everything that I've learned in all these crazy, wonderful 8 years of coaching. So I signed up in April of 2010. I was a slow starter as a coach. I went Emerald right away, like within a week, but I stayed Emerald and I didn't hit Diamond until January of 2014. And then my business pretty much kicked off like right from there. The next year I went 5-star Diamond. I hit Elite, which is a huge milestone in Beachbody. And, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about income, but before I'll share with you guys what I've made over the years. But before I get into that, I want you to know that the person I am today, or even back in like 2014, 15, when my business took off, was a totally different person than I was in 2010 when I started. And the only thing that helped me and changed and grew me into the woman and the leader and all of that I am today is personal development. And if you guys are not it's not personal development when you feel like it. It's not like picking up a book and reading it because it's interesting. It's about doing it every single day, no matter what, because you know that's what's going to make you a better coach to your customers, a better leader to your coaches, and it's going to get you to wherever it is that you want to get in this business. Whatever goal you have, whether you're like, I'm working this part-time because I want to make a couple $100 a month to pay my Shakeology and to pay a few bills, that's awesome. But if you're like, I want to make like $1,000 a week, or oops, stuff's popping up on my screen, which is distracting. Or I want to, make 6 figures, or I want to fire my boss, or whatever it is that your goal is, it's all doable. But I read a quote, it was in the Miracle Morning, and it's a Jim Rohn quote, and it's like, where you're at today is a direct reflection of where you're at in your personal development. So if you want to be further along, guess what? You need a lot more personal development. And where I was in 2010, I was super shy. I had trouble making eye contact with people. I was an introvert. I was very much kind of closed off and like this. When people met me, and I shared this, I think, on the call I did for you, Tabitha, 2 years ago. When people met me, they really thought I was a bitch because I wasn't. I was just really insecure and I wasn't friendly. So if you didn't talk to me, I wasn't going to talk to you. And if you did talk to me, I was usually one-word answers because I was just insecure. I was always just worried. And diving into personal development was something that I did right away. So even though I believed in the business, and I remember I would tell my upline Shauna over and over again, I know I'm going to make something of this, but just be patient with me because I'm never going to give up. I'm going to be really slow though, because I've got to figure this out. And if you have an emerald personality, and if Tabitha shared with you about the different gems like emerald, ruby, all of that, sapphire. if you have an emerald ruby personality like me, sometimes you want to know everything before you do anything. And this is a business where it's like you need to plow ahead and just go, whether you know it or not, and you figure it out along the way. So really personal development and really working on your mindset and having a true firm belief in who you are and being confident in who you are is what is going to make you into the coach that you want to become. So when you look at someone else, I don't ever want you to think, well, she's made it that far because she has this or she has that. No, you can have all of it. You can. Anything that you want to achieve in this business or in this life in general, you can achieve. And I am a firm believer in the only one holding us back is ourselves. So if you want something in this, you've got to go after it. And so I'm going to share my income. Signed up in April of 2010, and I don't have like exact, like we're within like a $500 to $1,000 range. In 2010, I made $3,000. Most people, after that many months being in the business and all they made was $3,000, they would quit, right? Probably. 2011, I made $6,000. 2012, I made around $8,000. 2013, I made $13,000. And then started really working my business in 2014 because all that personal development had kicked in. And, you know, I do want to share one more thing. So personal development is learning skill sets, right? And any skill set can be learned. Some of us come into this business with skill sets from past experiences, past jobs, past relationships, just the way we were raised, different than others. So some of us take off on this business a lot faster than others because of the skill sets that we have. And others, we need to take the time to develop and learn them. Does that make sense? So don't compare yourself to someone else. You are where you're meant to be, and you just need to work on getting further. In 2014, I made $56,000. So I jumped from $13,000 to $56,000. And then 2015 and on, I've made over $100,000 in this business. So it's possible. And this year I'm projected to make over $100,000 too. So it's possible. It's life-changing. When I first got into this, I just wanted to make enough to cover 2 bags of Shakeology because I signed up for the discount and I knew my husband was going to want to drink it too. And then a little bit of time went by and I'm like, okay, I want to make $500 a week so that I can quit. That was more than I was making in my part-time job working for my dad's roofing company. I'm like, okay, if I can make that, then I can quit. And then it's something that grows, but you need to keep growing. And the only way you keep growing is by doing personal development and staying plugged into the business, plugged into the team. If you're saying you want to build a business, but you're not going to Summit, do you really want to build a business? It's like, sorry, I'm kind of tough love, Tabitha. I hope that's okay. I'm like, do you really want to build a business? You got to be at Summit. You got to be at Super Saturday. I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. They're in travel sports. My life is crazy. My husband's a police officer. He works crazy shifts. Like everybody has their own form of busy. And so, but if you want something, you'll figure out a way to make it work. And the more you're diving into personal development, the more you'll be able to balance being a mom and being a wife and being, if you're working, I didn't quit my day job until the spring of 2014. So I was juggling it all, and you can too, personal development. Melanie Mitro said a quote, and I wrote it down, and I read it like on her Instagram. This was probably like 2 or 3 months ago. And it stuck with me because I have some coaches, they're like working really hard, and they're like, but Abby, like I'm not near your income yet or whatever. And I just keep sharing with them, you're where you're meant to be. You just got to stay consistent. It's just consistency with patience over time. The thing is too many coaches are inconsistent. Too many coaches work and, you could say to me like, oh, but I've been in the business for 6 months. But you got to ask yourself, did you really work it for 6 months? Or did you work for 2 weeks and then stop for a week? And then work for 3 weeks and then stop for 3 weeks. And I can say that because I've been doing this a long time, and coaches, they do that. They stop, and they start, and they stop, and they start back up again. And then they wonder why they're never getting any traction. It's because they're just not consistent. And everybody following you on social media will see that you're not consistent. You're not going to feel consistent. So it's consistency no matter what. And her quote was, you can be grinding for 4 years with no results, and on the 5th year become the biggest thing on the planet. The power of never giving up is real. And guys, it's so true, but you have to grind at it. And the average, I heard this back when it was like one of my first years. this was back in 2010. Beachbody used to do these things called game plan events. They were called game plan trainings. And I remember this guy, Larry something, came out and was talking to us. And he was saying the average, look at it, stuck with me this long. The average network marketer takes them 7 years to earn a 6-figure income. 7 years. The thing is I think we hear all these stories, like these Beachbody stories about like, you know, diamond in like 3 weeks, and then, you know, $50,000 in their first year and $300,000. And, you know, and it's like, so freaking rare. You got to ignore all of that. That's like somebody making it into the NBA or something. Like, it's just a fraction of the people. You have to focus on your own journey, and are you being consistent? And here's the thing. If you continue what you're doing outside of Beachbody today, like what you're doing today, if you continue doing that, where are you going to be in 7 years? You're probably going to be in the exact same place that you're at. And I don't know about you, where I was making like $13,000, $14,000 a year working for my dad's roofing company. And then I was teaching a couple group fitness classes a week. I was making about 20 grand a year. I struggled, and I was working a lot more hours than I am now. And if I didn't dive into Beachbody, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, where I'm home and I'm contributing to my family, and we're able to do so many things, and I'm not like in that grind of going into work and all of that. If I would have given up, if in that first year I was like, well, $3,000, that's nothing. Like, that barely just covered our Shakeology and a little bit more. Or then next year when I kept wondering why I wasn't figuring it out faster, and these other people who got in before me were surpassing me. Seriously, the power of never giving up truly is real. If you bleed blue, like Beachbody blue, if you believe in this company, if you believe in the mission, if you have a passion for helping people, then rank and income and all of that is going to naturally follow. But all of that has to come first. You have to believe in this business first. And another quote I wrote down for you guys is, you can't expect 30 years of results in 30 minutes of work. And I think so many people in this world, they have this lottery mentality. I've had coaches come into my organization, and then like 6 months later, they're out and they're like, well, I'm only making like $150 a week. I'm like, you're still making $150 a week, but they want to be making $150,000 a year 6 months later. You know what I'm saying? So it really is about, you can't just expect a little bit of time or a little bit of effort to produce you like a lifelong I lost my train. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. Guys, when you talk on these calls, sometimes your thoughts they just go. So how do we achieve this? How do we achieve like I don't know, maybe you're like, I don't even care about making 6 figures, Abby. That's nice that you made that, but maybe I don't want to make that. Maybe you're like, I just want to make $500 a week. That's where I was at one point. So how do you go about making that a reality? And the thing is first you need a very clear vision. And if you guys don't focus on like what your why is and what your vision is, you really need to have that written down and like posted somewhere. I talk to my team every year about having a word of the year that they're really focusing on, that they have like put up on their screensaver on their phone or on their laptop or on their fridge or on their bathroom mirror, and having a word of the year that you're focusing on. Mine this year was discipline, because I feel like last year I kind of was lacking discipline. So, you know, some it was just focus, or I can't even think of any right now, but there were some awesome words of the year that my team came up with. Should have written some of those down. But having like something that you're focusing on, that's your vision of what you're going after, right? And then you have to have action steps behind that. And so one of the things, I mean, there has to be many action steps in this business. One, like be a product to the product, do your personal development, invite people, all of that. I'm going to focus on what this whole call is about. Being a 500 PV coach. So there's many metrics to measure the health of your business, but there's only one that impacts your weekly reoccurring income, and that's team volume. And when I shared with you from, 2014, when I made a little over $50,000 to my 6 figures, 80 to 85% of my income is from team cycle bonuses. The rest is from commission. So we make our 25% commission, right? Anytime anyone buys something from our site, we're making 25% commission. But your team cycle bonus, that is something, so like commission I always share is like the fast money. Like you can You're driving me crazy. You can sell something and then a week later, you're making your commission off of that. It takes longer to develop coaches who want to work a business where they're they're selling product, which is producing volume, which you're going to then make a team. And I'm going to break guys down for you volume, like even the basic of it before I go into some of the stuff. But that takes time. So that's time, patience, consistency, but know that eventually that will make up a majority of your income. And that's the income that happens whether you sleep or whether you're awake or whether you take 3 days off because you're sick or you want to take a weekend off to go somewhere with your spouse or whatever it may be. The income stays as long as you stay involved. So our volume is generated by sales of coaches on the right leg and the left leg of our entire downline. So whether it's your personally sponsored coach or not, you're going to generate volume off of all of the coaches in your entire downline. So the more volume you have is the more team cycle bonus that you will get. And if you don't know where to track it, and I hope you guys have like pen and paper, because we are gonna do an equation in a little bit. So I really hope everybody has pen and paper. But there's 3 places to track your volume in your Coach Online office. One is on the front dashboard on the left-hand side. It's gonna say volume. You can click on that, and then it's going to pop up and it's going to say right leg, left leg, and it's going to total up that, including your carryover volume. And I'll talk about that in just a second. Also, if you go to your Coach Online office and you click on Monitor My Business and then click on Team Volume, then a page generates and it's going to show you every week your left leg and your right leg, your volume for each week. And same thing, if you click on Monitor My Business and click on Carryover Volume, you can see that. So once you achieve Emerald rank in your business, you can start making team cycle bonuses. So a majority of us, unless you were placed on like an outside dead leg, and that happens to people, you have a strong leg and you have a weak leg. And all that means is that your strong leg means that the coaches above you are placing coaches onto that leg and you're going to benefit from them in your organization. They're gonna be part of your downline and you're gonna benefit from them in your team cycle bonuses. So even if you're not cycling a lot yet, you probably have a strong leg that has carryover volume. So if you're not cycling off of that, I have some coaches that have like hundreds of thousands of volume points sitting on their strong leg, waiting for them to build their weak leg so they can cycle off of it. So what I'd love for you guys to do is after this call, go and look and see how much do you have sitting of carryover volume on your strong leg. And once you figure out this calculation, you'll be able to calculate like how much money you have just sitting on there. And oftentimes you're surprised. It could be a couple $1,000s or more than that, depending on how long you've been in the organization, how strong your strong leg is and all of that. But that's the amazing thing about this business is you do get carryover volume. I do want to share with you though that if you lose your Emerald rank, your carryover volume goes to 0. So it never goes away, but if you lose your Emerald rank or if you are Emerald and you go inactive, if you're not an active Emerald coach, all of your carryover volume, kind of like rollover minutes, all your carryover volume goes away. So you want to maintain rank, you want to maintain active status because that's just money sitting there. All right, so a team cycle bonus is when you get that when you have 300 total team volume points, 100 on one leg, 200 on the other, and we know we all cycle $14 at an Emerald, 16 at a Ruby, 18 at a Diamond. So here's an example of how to earn $1,000 a week in a team cycle bonus. So if you take your goal of $1,000 and you divide it by 18, that is 56. So that means that you would have 56 cycles. And I think it's really important to understand team volume. So I really hope you guys write this down, exactly how to do this. Step 2 is you take those 56 cycles. So 56 times you need 300 volume points to cycle once. That's 16,800 team volume. Step 3 is 56 cycles times 100, that's your volume on your weak leg, is 5,600 volume. And then final step 4 is 56 cycles times 200 team volume, which would be your strong leg, is 11,200. So what that's saying is you take 11,200, once you have 11,200 volume on your strong and 5,600 volume on your weak, you would be cycling 56 times a week, which equates to $1,000 a week. So we're going to do this together. So what I want you to do is write down on your piece of paper, what is your income goal for the week? Is it $250? Is it $1,000? Is it $10,000? Doesn't matter. So write that down. So number one is, what's your income goal? Number two, I want you to take that goal and divide it by 18. We're dividing by diamond because that's the highest rank. And I'm going to explain to you guys why in a little bit. So I don't know what that number is, but your money goal divided by 18, that equals the number of cycles you need to cycle to make that amount of money. So number two, next to number two, it should be your money goal, your weekly goal divided by 18 is going to equal however many cycles. Step three is you take that number of cycles, you times it by 100. So what were your cycles? Times it by 100. That's going to equal the minimum volume you need on your weak leg. So again, number three is take your number of cycles that you got from step two, times it by 100. That's going to give you your minimum volume for your weak leg. Finally, step number four, you're going to take your number of cycles, times it by 200, and that's going to give you your total volume you need for your strong leg. Does anybody need me to repeat that? This is really important to understand this. I see everybody writing, so I'll wait till everybody looks up. I'll take a drink of water. Here's the thing. We can have a number in our head, but if we don't know how to get it, how are we ever going to achieve it? So what we should be doing is on a weekly or a minimum monthly basis, looking at our coach online office, seeing where our volume is. And guys, I'm going to go into how to grow your team volume, don't worry, in 5 steps. But what I want you to understand is if you don't know what you need on your legs to reach your weekly income goal, and this is not including your commission. So you go and sell a challenge pack, you make $40 on top of whatever this amount is. But if you don't know how to get there, if you don't know what you need in volume, how do you know what you're really striving for, right? So do we all, I can only see a few of you, but can we get a raise of hands? Do we all know with what our weekly goal is, income goal is, how to get that, how many cycles we need and how much volume? Are you guys able to figure that out? Yes? Awesome. All right. So, how do we grow team volume? One is we need to add coaches and customers. And guys, you need to think of adding more coaches and customers into your organization like a bucket. And you want to think of it like a volume bucket. Like you want to have this bucket that you're filling with volume, and you get that by growing your network, connecting with more people, and getting more customers and coaches into your organization. But something I want to share with you is every bucket has a hole in it, which means that as you are bringing customers and coaches into your organization, there are going to be ones that are falling out of this hole at the bottom because inevitably people are going to leave. We're going to have coaches that sign up and quit. We're going to have customers who are all gung-ho and they join us, and then 3 months later, they're like, I never want to do Shakeology again, and I want to go do something else. You know what I mean? It's just inevitable. If we're nurturing relationships, if we're being, going back to the personal development thing, if we're diving into our personal development and being the best coach to our customers and the best leader to our coaches, your retention is going to be up, right? Which means that more are going to stay. But the reality is no matter how amazing of a coach you are, there are going to be people who leave. So it's getting rid of the mindset of, oh, I have 2 coaches on Emerald, I'm good. No, it's like you have to keep adding because inevitably people are going to fall off. And why, we talk about customers in that is because customers make the best coaches. How many of you guys were a customer before you became a coach? Or you joined into a challenge group, right? So it's about having a passion and a love for the product. And so you're looking for more people like that. So that's another reason we should always be looking in our challenge groups for amazing rock star customers, who would make amazing coaches, because if they love the product and love the vibe and love all of it, they will make an amazing coach. The second way to grow your team volume is you want to increase retention. And you do that by nurturing relationships and being consistent. Are you checking in with your customers every single week? Be honest. Because I've fallen off in the past. You know what I mean? Where a few weeks go by, or how many of you guys like where you're like, well, I've messaged them twice in the last month and they're not responding. So it gets a little uncomfortable. I'm not saying stalk your people, but if they bought a challenge pack from you, they want you to help them. And so it's just about being patient. And one conversation we should always be having with people when they first join into a challenge group with us is asking them, what is your coaching style? Do you want me to give you, some people, they know they need tough love. They know that they need you to be like, where are you? Why aren't you showing up? You know, I haven't seen you in the group in 3 days. Others just want like a, hey, how's it going? You need to talk to your customers about what coaching style do they want from you so that you can then best motivate them, because everybody is going to have spurts in time. How many of you guys have fallen off, whether it's for a few days or a week or a month or something, right? And so think about it. If someone went and talked to you and not your coaching style, you are turned off by like someone being like, where have you been? Why haven't you shown up, right? You'd be like, all right, I'm out. I'm not doing this. But some people, they need that. So you need to be in communication with your customers and figuring out exactly what it is they need from you to draw them back in. That's going to increase retention. And doing the same thing with your coaches. Just because somebody signs up as a discount coach doesn't mean that they don't need you to coach them anymore. You still, all discount coaches, you need to be treating just like a customer. And I see that mistake made so often is where people will bring on discount coaches and they start treating them like a coach almost. No, they're a customer who signed up for the preferred membership. Literally, that's it. You still have to check in with them. You still treat them like a challenger. You still need to coach them. Number 3 is to introduce more products to existing customers. Last fall, I did a product training for my team. So Tabitha, I don't know if you've done anything like this, and we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but I can share that with you so you can then put you into one of my groups so you can then take that and share it with your team. But we did a product training, and boy, was I blown away by how many coaches on my team did not know that we had Activate multivitamin, or did not know that we didn't know about the ultimate reset. Maybe they heard about the 3-day refresh, but they didn't know about the ultimate reset, or they did not know the performance line or understand everything on it. I am not saying you need to know everything. No, if somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer to it, there is nothing wrong with saying, you know what, that's a great question. Let me look into that and get back to you. That's better than not saying anything at all or not helping people at all. So here's the thing. How many, when I was talking to my coaches about becoming a 500 PV coach, I think too often we focus as Beachbody as a whole on challenge packs and on selling a challenge pack. So how many of you guys, you're in conversation and you're trying to get people to join your challenge group and they say, you know what, not right now. Like, that's a little too much money, or I don't know if Shakeology just isn't for me. That's not something I want to do. And in your mind, you have like this mentality of, oh, next, I'm going to just move on to the next person. Instead of meeting that person where they're at and thinking about producing volume with that customer. So they say they don't want to do Shakeology. You know what? We have this amazing multivitamin Activate that, it's so freaking cheap. I think it's like $30 or $35. That's bringing in volume. That's also bringing a customer in to where they can now get to know you, get to like you, get to trust you. Maybe not today, maybe not next month, but maybe in 3 months they're getting a challenge pack from you. The challenge pack isn't the end all and be all. Help people in other ways. Or maybe someone comes to you and says, you know what, I don't really want to do that Beachbody on demand. I really like going to the gym. And maybe you're going to say to them, you know what, because this is what I say, I have a lot of clients who actually take it and stream it from their phone at the gym. They love the gym environment and they're like, nope, I don't want to do that. I just want, how about talking to them about a pre-workout? Are you using a pre-workout or a post-workout? How many of you guys on a consistent basis talk to your customers, not only your current customers, but just people who give you a no on joining your challenge group about the performance line or about Activate or about just doing a 3-day cleanse? when they tell you no to your challenge group? Anybody? A little bit. And here's the thing. I think a majority of us, we focus on summer slim down, you know, get BOD with Shakeology. And when they tell you no to that, we just move on to the next person to talk to instead of meeting that person where they're at and thinking like, what can I do to help them? Guys, if you just switch that little thing, you yourself will turn into a 500 plus PV coach. And then if you duplicate that to all of the coaches that you bring into your organization, you will turn all of them into 500 plus PV coaches. And that is where you will grow a team that's going to be income producing for you. Does that make sense? But if all we're focused on is challenge pack sales and we're not sharing other products with customers, guys, if you sell a challenge pack, do you know that it's only like 40 or 50 team volume points? Where Shakeology is 90 volume points. Like you need to go into I should have pulled this up for you guys, but you need to go into your coach online office and look and see what volume is for each product. Challenge packs is like the least volume because there's such a discount on it. So they're not going to give us volume on top of a huge discount. Does that make sense? So it's about knowing what your products are, knowing what, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to reach them and meet them exactly where they're at, and being a resource and a true coach and a true help to people, whether they buy a challenge pack from you or not. So doing a product training, Tabitha, I think your team would really benefit from that because mine really did. And honestly, it helped me. So me and Nicole and Sharon, who are two of my leaders, we ran we did a 2-week product training and we shared a product, 10 products, 5 days out of the 2 weeks. And we felt like we learned so much. We thought we knew it all, not knew it all, but knew a majority of it. And as we researched, we learned a lot ourselves about some of the products. All right, number 4 is create volume strong coaches. So I just kind of mentioned this. The more your coaches are only going to do what they see you do. So if you want coaches who hit Success Club, but you're not hitting Success Club, you're not going to have coaches who hit Success Club. If you are not a 500 PV coach, but you want your coaches to do that because you want to have volume to cycle off of, you need to be what you want your coaches to be. So, number 4 is creating volume strong coaches. I'm going to get into that in just a second. And then number 5 is just developing leaders. So always looking for business builders. If you build a team of discount coaches, you are not going to ever make a significant income because one, that is going to be not a little hole in your bucket. That's a big hole in your bucket. Discount coaches drop off like nothing else. Seriously. So you always want to be looking for business builders. And so why I shared with you guys about diamond cycling and where I'm going to get into creating volume strong coaches and why we want to achieve diamond is because we want to max out on our cycle bonus. You're leaving money on the table if you're staying at an emerald rank and you're only cycling $14 a cycle instead of $18 a cycle. And I know that you're like, but Abby, it's $4. Here's the thing. The coaches that are making, not right now, the coaches that are making, $20,000 a year as a diamond, or even, guys, there's diamond coaches out there making like $10,000 a year, they're cycling $18. And the coaches that are making $3.5 million a year, they are cycling $18. So you want to get to diamond so that you're max cycling, but diamond is not the end all be all. If you are not building a team of business builders, if you're just building a team of discount coaches, diamond doesn't guarantee success. And I'm going to share with you guys what a classic diamond looks like and what a 500 PV diamond looks like. So a classic diamond, we know what that is, right? You have 4 coaches on each leg and 1 on each leg is emerald, right? So you have a total of 12 coaches in your organization. 8 of them are yours. 4 of them are in your downline. If everybody is just sweetie, I'm doing a training in the air fryer. Sorry, teenagers, they don't listen. I looked at her 5 times, go away. Okay, classic diamond. If you have a whole team of discount coaches, right? That means you are just doing 90 volume points and you have 12 coaches under you who are just doing 90 volume points, it means they're just on Shakeology, right? That's 90 PV a month. That equates to, lost my notes here, 1,080 team volume. That's 540 volume points on each leg. If you're just a classic diamond, which means that everyone's just on Shakeology, nobody's selling anything, nobody's doing anything other than Shakeology. Nobody's on Energize, no one's on anything. That's only 3 cycles a month. 3 cycles times $18 a cycle is $54. That's why, did you guys think that there's coaches, diamonds out there that are only making $54 a month? Seriously. I think sometimes we look at diamonds and we think, oh my goodness, like they're making all this money, and we like put them up on a pedestal. But a diamond who builds their organization off of discount coaches is making $54 a month in cycle bonuses. Maybe another cycle or 2, maybe under $100 a month if they have a strong leg where they're cycling another time or 2. But a 500 PV diamond, so if you have, you know, your 8 personally sponsored and the 2 emeralds, so 12 coaches in your organization, and that's it, and everybody is bringing in 500 PV for the month, you would then cycle 20 times and make $360 a month plus your commission. Does that make sense? So it really is like, that's a vast difference, $54 to $360 a month as a diamond coach. So we want to be constantly looking and creating volume strong coaches. And guys, I have coaches in my organization. If any of you guys follow me, and I put up leaderboards that like bring in like 2,000 or 3,000 plus volume in a month. Like, so when you find a business builder, like who's going all in, they will bring in a lot of volume. But I have coaches that are at the top of my leaderboards bringing in all this volume, and some of them aren't even diamond yet. So it has nothing to do with rank. You just want to reach diamond so that you can cycle at $18. And because if you're an emerald coach, you top out at $250 a week. Are we all aware of this? Have you shared that with your team, that at Emerald, you top out at $250 a week? So if you are an Emerald coach and you would have cycled, say, $290 for the week, Beachbody only pays you $250. The $40, it doesn't carry over, it doesn't roll over, it goes away forever, you lose it. So we want to move up in rank so that our max out, top out is higher. But we ourselves want to be that 500 PV coach and then teach our coaches how to do that so that we can take advantage of team cycling. That's all I got for you guys. That's the end of my notes. Did that help? Did that all make sense? Did you guys hear all this before? Are you guys 500 PV coach rockstar team and rocking it out and everyone's cycling tons, or is this something you guys needed to hear?
Yes, I think it was for sure. I'm like trying not to like I'm in the car and I feel like I'm doing like this because I'm bouncing up and down. But can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's really good refresher. We've really been talking a lot about volume, and I love how, I was going to ask you, Abby, I love how you, and I know a lot of coaches have sort of changed direction and have changed in recognition of their coaches. Instead of focusing on Success Club, they're focusing on volume producing and where you are with volume. Can you hear me?
You broke up for a second, but changed recognition and changed something. Say that again.
Wait, can you, okay.
Cheers.
Hold on, sorry. Just basically you're recognizing coaches based on volume and not Success Club. And I love how you do that. But I was going to ask you, I think it's confusing for some reason, like when I log into my Coach Online office, because I want you guys to understand what you're producing. I can tell you, I can look in my downline and I can tell you guys where you're at with volume. But when you log in, Abby, can you explain where they would go to see like where, like even when I log into mine, I think sometimes I'm producing more volume than what it says because it depends on like the week. It depends on different like places where you look. Does that make sense? Am I cutting out?
Okay. You're cutting out a little bit, but I think I know what you're saying. So One, I mentioned it earlier, like, so you can sell something and you might think it's X amount of volume points, but it's really less. So it's about knowing what team volume is for each product. So that's one thing.
Right.
And then two, when you go into your Coach Online office and you click on Monitor My Business,
Yeah.
Sponsorship Drill Down, and then at the top left, it says something. Rank and something analysis. You want to click on that, and then you click Export File, and it's going to open up like an Excel spreadsheet. And you're going to see like all of your coaches, you're going to see their name and their email, and you're going to see their personal PV at first. It's the customer PV that's all the way at the end. That's what your team volume is. The first set of numbers, like week 1 to 5, that is with their own personal orders. I don't count that for my coaches because that's not anything that they produced. You know what I mean? So we do customer volume. So is that what you're asking, where to see that?
Yeah, just like when you recognize your coaches, I'm wondering where you're pulling your number from. Because like I can go and look at my downline, but the number that I see changes. Like, you know, like you can just look under sponsorship drill down and it'll show what each coach is producing. But I feel like that number varies. And then I'm like, do you take that from the very last day? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I can ask you that another time.
Yeah, no, you can. I mean, I literally will take like 4 weeks and then I figure out which the dates are, and then I auto sum it in Excel, and then that'll tell me what it is. Okay. But yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
We'll talk about that another time.
No, I think that was super helpful. And we have been talking a lot about product. I've been encouraging everybody to, I think it's important that you try something new each month that you haven't tried before, because it's just important in order to kind of like to be mindset. Like if my freaking kit won't come in for some reason, I don't know, I need to check the tracking because it's like way behind and I don't know what's going on with it. But like I can't really tell people, okay, here's my results with To Be Mindset, or here's what I'm experiencing because I haven't started it yet, which makes it hard to sometimes promote something when you don't have a positive personal feedback. So I think it's super important, yes, that you try different things. We've been kind of talking about that. But does anybody have any questions for Abby? I mean, I feel like you had some really good points about different things, even beyond volume, because I mean, that shouldn't be your main focus, but if you focus on the things that she talked about the first half of the call, that's when the volume is going to just like totally start to come for you. Anyone?
Yeah.
All right.
I really think, guys, it's just like consistency over time. I remember reading in, now I can't remember what the book is called, but he was just said it was like, I can't even think of what it is now. You ever go to say something, you're like, dang it. It was like an equation of like where success comes from. And it was like consistency multiplied by time, you know, whatever. And that is where success will come from. And the thing is most of us aren't consistent. And then secondly, we're not patient enough. And thirdly, we don't give things enough time.
Yeah.
7 years. Where do you want to be in 7 years? Where do you even want to be in 3 years? That's all you have to ask yourself. Be consistent.
Woo-hoo. Okay, thank you so much for doing our call. I appreciate it. It's so much fun to hear you just pour into our team. So
even though I'm kind of like ditzy sometimes and totally lost my train of thought 3 times. That's okay.
There was only a couple squirrels, right?
Just my daughter walking in 3 times.
My son came streaking in. I thought he was going to run through in his underwear. And I was like,
no.
Well, tell Paul I said hi.
I will. I'll see you guys in like a month. Summit.
Yeah, yay. Can't wait.
I know, me too. All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks again. See you guys. Good night.